Hey, what's up guys? This is Oakley and this is going to be a siege, an interesting one on a barbarian settlement. So I'm going to be playing as the Nervii. My ally, actually, interestingly enough, is going to be the Romans. So this is quite the turn of the events. So what has happened? Well, it looks like the Romans have teamed up with some of their enemies. And what we're going to be doing is combating some Roman enemies of ours, the Seleucids and the Carthaginians. So an interesting mishmash of enemies, arch enemies, and all that seemingly coming together for a ragtag siege of this barbarian settlements. Who knows the diplomacy and the politics that happened to get us to this point, but all that matters is that we are here now. So the siege is underway. A couple of our catapults are already starting to target the enemy settlements right up through here. The Seleucids hold these towers, and I have a bunch of these siege towers moving forward on the right hand side of the screen right now. On the left is going to be the Roman legions deciding to push forward with the siege tower, or sorry, the siege ladders, which are, as we know, a bit more exposed than the siege towers themselves. If you were to hire me to attack a siege, I would very much appreciate it if my general had us building siege towers for a couple weeks. But looks like the Roman commander here are actually, looks like these are going to be some of my guys, the brave Oathsworn, deciding that their oath requires them to put themselves in the line of battle. So I'm going to be getting ready to assault this position. Looks like the constant bombardment is taking these towers out of order, and the assault is pending us to take those out. This is actually the Roman heavy onager, so the Romans here contributing some of their technological prowess in this siege, taking out the tower. So my own force has a couple Oathsworn here getting ready to pincer this position. Over here I have most of my spear brothers and cheap troops. Actually, these are Oathsworn, actually. So the cheap troops here are getting ready to push, soak up enemy fire, and yeah, Celtic U, Southern units going to start screening on the left. I have some of my giant Celtic ballista starting to pepper the wall here. I want to have as many ways to enter that position as possible. And on the far left, we have fierce swords actually moving up here into position, taking the western road approach to this barbarian settlement. I've played on this battle map a couple times, and I really like this settlement. It has very interesting features. As soon as we're pushing forward, we have not heard anything, not even a peep from the enemy force, so we're waiting for something to happen on their side. The Romans on this part of the world basically has decided to deploy themselves over in this village. Apparently the legatus has requisitioned this housing for the Roman units, and the Romans now have deployed themselves for battle. Not too numerous in number, mostly because this is going to be a Praetorian guard force, so perhaps the Emperor is here on duty, bring some of his own guardsmen to bear. So this is going to be an interesting battle. As I've said, a lot of Velites and Syrian archers ready to push forward. So that is what's happening right through here. The enemy force here is going to be counter-battering with some giant ballista. But now the first push has been made through in the front. Celtic U's and Levy Freemen are going to be pushing forward to fill this gap, fill up the traps with their bodies. But as I've mentioned, it is ominously quiet here. Now I do have something up my sleeve. I have actually gone ahead and deployed several units up on the high ground. This is one of the cool things that I mentioned about this settlement, is you can deploy up on the high ground here. So I have 3 units of Gallic hunters positioned up on the high ground with 1 noble horse, and the idea for this was to come up to the cliffside and shower enemy units that were here and perhaps at the top hold, which it looks like they're going to be getting ready to do, mostly having drawn back. And look at these defenses, ladies and gentlemen. Tar pits in front and then countless stakes. So we're going to see what it takes to get up there. Meanwhile, my Levy Freemen doing exactly what they need to do, being essentially free throwaway units here. They're going to be sent back and forth to probe for traps, and so here and there you'll be seeing a man go down just as quickly as someone would in tall grass filled with raptors. You're going to see them getting yanked down left and right as they go through this tall grass. And they're going to be taking tremendous amounts of damage from the towers themselves. That's okay. This is a free, cheap screening force meant to seize the gates. However, look what has materialized out of the blue. It's going to be a bunch of these early archers starting to, rain down on our guys here, pulling out of the destroyed outskirts of the city. Looks like the city has been under siege for a while. We've done some early damage to it. Nonetheless, the enemy is going to be using the broken ground to their advantage, hiding from our units and just unleashing a bloody mess on my guys here. Vast swaths of them have gone down. So now what I'm going to be doing is actually having my guys go back and forth to try and dodge some of that murderous arrow fire as best they can and try and seize this settlement. The tower is now rising. It looks like we're going to be able to claim this pretty soon. A lot of the enemy force targeting my guys. That's okay. Like I said, that is their role. Over in this position, what we're doing is we're pulling up real close. I know there's enemy forces nearby, so what we're trying to do is just wait this out. No need to engage in case they have a bunch of archers positioned here that I don't quite see yet, so I'm going to be waiting just a little longer. This force here trying to redeploy. I was trying to pivot it about to try and get up on the walls. I don't want to commit everything at once. I'm still operating in the blind. However, now my Oathsworn are going to be up top. And now I seize this arrow tower. The Nervii have control of this arrow tower. So this means the enemy can stand there all day if they want. These shield bearers, expensive units, can stick here and watch my Oathsworn. And they're just going to take a beating. So the advantage is obviously mine at this point. Now they do have a bunch of archers, which I have to be careful of. But it looks like the archers are going to be pulling out of this position. They're scared of what might be happening. Some of the hoplites here have detected my guys moving forward. And so they're going to be trying to keep this area back. You may have seen some of the ballista fire coming across here. What we're trying to do, going underground. What we're trying to do is take out this tower here, which is doing a lot of potential damage to our guys. It's got 22 damage, and yeah, it's defended like you said, or like I was warning about previously. Is, you know, look at all these units that are hiding here. Had I gone ahead and rolled up and deployed here, what they would have gone, you know, is a bunch of precursor javelins, killed my guys before they could get out. So this fierce sword unit is actually going to be forced to hold back. Yes, it's on fire, but that's fine. The fierce swords are, you know, not having any of that. I have enough time, I think, to either vacate this siege tower or wait for a better position. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm hoping that our catapults can knock that out, but it looks like we're going to be running out of ammo fairly soon, and the accuracy is not that great. The enemy is going to decide to pull back. Oh, a couple more shots getting there, and yep, definitely missing, so that is not good. So the assault is waiting right through here. Two of my Oathsworn units have taken a pretty heavy beating. What I decided to do was move forward, get some javelin volleys off, trying to break these shield bearers, but look at the massive number of enemy archers that have rallied behind their initial line of troops. Target-rich environment for them, so they're going to be unleashing on my Oathsworn, which is a good move, but like I said, the more we hold out here, the more damage we can do with the towers. And now with the Roman legionaries pushing forward in Testuda, this is going to essentially spell doom for opponents. They are not going to give up just yet. Looks like they're going to start to commit some sword troops to back up this hoplite line. That is definitely a good move. But man, look at our Testudo formation. You combine that with the heavy hitting strength of the Oathsworn, and that is going to be awesome for us. So now we're going to be given the order, the Praetorian Guard, to start moving forward. And holy crap, look how much damage they're tanking. This is exactly what we need to break through this. So our guys facing off. And look at that enemy force, how much damage it's taken. Some of my own Gallic Hunters and other units are going to be hitting this position. Look at all those shots from our Syrian archers in the back. So we're going to be doing just as much damage, just as much carnage to the enemy. Looks like in response they're going to be pulling back. That's because what I've gone ahead and done is sent my troops around this flank. I'm bypassing this entire force, threatening to cut them off. That is a good move. So my Oathsworn are going to be pushing forward. Some Principes are doing that same thing as well. The Thorax Swordsmen here realize that they should do something to counter this. So they are going to be trying to pull back and save their own troops. Here's all the Syrian archers unloading on this little island here. I have some Celtic youths that are going to be getting in on the flank. It's exactly where you see me using these guys. Almost every battle is using javelins on the exposed side of the opponent. So here they go. They're going to be forced to retreat. And as they do so, they're just going to expose themselves even more. So yes, they're going to get out of range, but in the meantime, they're going to be harassed and harried and forced back. So this is a win for us. We're going to be clearing this out handily. So you can chalk that up as a win. as they try and extricate themselves from this position, we're trying to come in and cut them off with some Oathsworn. However, this sacrificial unit is going to be enough to stop us from cutting this entire blob off. This would be a huge pickup for us, so we're desperately trying to chase this off. More units coming in, but they're going to make their retreat back to the fortified rear positions. Over here, I'm going to be pushing forward with more of my Oathsworn, going to take this force out. My siege tower is going to be pulling into position, and now I feel confident enough to take out these thorax swordsmen. With this huge force pulling out, it's enough to take out that position there. So we are breaching and clearing. Speaking of breaching and clearing, over here what I did is I pulled 2 Fierce Swords units, which had some towers over here. Took a fairly tremendous amount of damage from my Fierce Swords here as they pulled up the enemy archer fire up there. You can see them just now retreating in the distance. Basically clobbered my guys, but I got a nice surprise attack with my Fierce Swords. Seized the gate here with some of these ladders, took this over, and I did actually have the support of some of my Gallic hunters up top here. You can see they took some damage. That is when I pushed them out to this position. They actually took a lot of damage, but basically what they were doing is you saw an exchange happening with the Syrian archers there, so the high ground position actually allowing me to carve out a little bit of an advantage there. So we are seizing this en force. Enemy ranks over here are engaged from the front, so they would have otherwise cleaned up my guys easily with the tower support. But what is happening is I have all my Oathsworn in the rear, and these guys are preparing to throw their volleys. Again, a lot of the times I don't like charging straight into combat, and this is something you should do. Use your precursor javelins when necessary. The best place to use precursors is when you have an opportunity to shoot the opponent in the ass, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So we are cost effectively seizing the outside. We're pouring through the middle with our skirmishing base and all that, but unfortunately the enemy was able to draw back most of their troops. So I have some Spear Brothers, cheap units, trying to tie up the remainder of this force. What I'm trying to do is catch these guys, keep them from retreating all the way. My javelins are going to unleash, so the enemy is falling back to their last positions past the stakes, but not without at least some tremendous damage being dealt to them in the rear. Spear Brothers were there just to start soaking up the enemy fire, which is pointing, down at us, point blank range with these Cretan archers. That's okay. I'm just going to be going back and forth, making them waste as many of their shots as possible. Look in the distance as more guys start to rally themselves, and it looks like they're going to be targeting actually some of our vulnerable skirmishers who decided not to bring shirts or any armor for this battle. So yeah, I pulled out of that engagement, and I'm going to allow the enemy to kind of go free fire on my guys. I do have some of my weaker units, basically my Fierce Swords up here. They got a couple of javelins against these units, bloodied them up, but in the end it's going to be very hard to dislodge these units, so my guys are going to come in for the charge. Coming in, and we're going to be eating up some of the Libyans that stray too far. Most of their main line is going to be holding pass behind this, this huge stake wall, so this is going to be very, very scary stuff. We have to somehow crack this position, so that's exactly why we're making sure we clean everything up. A huge contingent of Romans, Praetorians, and other units are still waiting in the back, so looks like we're sending some of our Principes, these are kind of the Roman fodder units, to seize this gate, allow us to then pour in through the flank. My front ranks have obliterated this Libyan infantry. I am losing more and more units, but every single shot that's coming down here is going to be one shot less from these mercenary Cretan archers that could otherwise go towards hitting our Romans. So I am fine with them wasting shots on our guys. So we're going to be charging through here. This is actually really epic. I always love seeing these battlefield deployables, and I wish we'd see more of this type of stuff in the future, especially come Total War Warhammer. This stuff could be really, really cool. My Fierce Swords in close quarter combat, even the javelin fire that I said was being trained on my units, is not even that effective just because of the line of sight that's happening here. So just as many of the enemy fire is going to be doing damage to their own guys. So I'm really actually happy with this engagement. They do, however, have a line of pikes. I mean, look at this. Pikes combined with stakes is going to be very, very, very hard for us to beat back. So that is going to be a tremendous problem for us. We're seizing the gatehouse, like I said, over there. Meanwhile, in the back, my Gallic hunters have reclaimed this position. And what they're going to be doing is just waiting out, seeing if I could take out some of these other Balearic slingers from a distance, but overall just trying to suppress the enemy force. I still have some noble horse that I could pull through this gate if need be, and I have some more Gallic hunters that I'm keeping hidden in case we get down to the last couple, final stand scenarios at the top where I need to have that finishing blow. I've actually been able to push through. Some of these guys decide to retreat, not thinking it was worth it to engage. But in the face of a massive African pike line here, this is going to force our guys back. So this is going to be the next problem that we have to solve. But look at all those javelins being wasted. Some of them I even saw hitting some of these African pikemen. So more sacrificial units are being sent into the pipeline. It looks like the archers actually are going to be sent forward. These guys have already run out of ammo, so that is why you're seeing them move forward to engage on foot. So enemy also doing some things to trade cost effectively. So they're going to be sending in their depleted archer units to deal with my guys. I believe this is their Levy Freeman can deal with them very effectively, just butchering them. More of my own skirmishers coming in here, again soaking up a lot of javelin fire. But ladies and gentlemen, is this not an epic scene, an epic uphill fight against the enemy there? This is going to be brutal, and this is just a taste of what's to come for when we get to the massive assault. And you can actually see most of these barricades have taken damage actually from the fire, and I'm telling my own guys to start clearing a path. So definitely brave souls here. Most of the shots actually being stopped in front of these barricades, which may actually prove to be useful in the end. Holy crap, look at all those fire shots. So, yep, a field of corpses developing here. We cleared away this position. Tower is ours. Lost a fair amount of my fierce swords in that assault. A fair amount of my Oathsworn. So definitely taking out towers is very, very hard to do. Artillery was not able to do enough damage to it, so we probably should have focused a bit more on that. But nonetheless, I'm pretty happy with our assault. And especially over in this position, we've pulled up a lot of our Praetorians. And in this kind of last minute breakthrough, a lot of our cav have pulled through. So now we're going to be opening up another flank. So the cavalry is positioned here. However, the enemy has a lot of these staked up positions. We're starting to seize this tower, which is going to be important for pushing past this position. But again, pikes backed by stakes is going to be very, very hard for us to take. I believe the rules for this battle was max 2 pikes per army. So Carthage definitely making the most use of that. And the prevalence of archers here doing a lot of damage. Actually looks like we just lost 3 men, so not as bad, but it did force us off the tower. We did, however, bring it down to neutral, so it's not going to be firing at us anytime soon. That's the best we could hope for now. And now we're going to be shifting some units to reinforce, but the enemy is probably also going to do so. Next group of Levy Freemen. Up and at 'em, gentlemen. And in this scenario, I know I have some javelins. So I'm going to give an attack order against the enemy pikes. And that could prove to be suicidal. And that's why I decided to disengage right there. I was hoping my guys would throw javelins, so I'm going to move point blank range. And I really, really, really want to take out these pikemen with some javelin shots. So there in that charge, you saw me get a couple of javelins off. But then in the face of, I don't know why my guys weren't firing javelins from a bit further away. But for the most part, we're going to get absolutely clobbered. So I disengage again to a safe distance. Look, this is just ridiculous. A pike wall with stakes. So yeah, my guys have drawn back. Going to be very hard for us to break this. If we had a Scorpion unit, this would be perfect. But that's fine. I'm not super worried about this. And look, another Libyan Peltas unit has basically admitted that it's out of ammo. It was trying to come down and charge. And more of these units. Look at how many archer units they have. If we can waste all the archer ammo, then that means all we have to break through is going to be an African pikeman unit here. On this front, the enemy has pushed forward and reinforced with noble fighters, staking out a position up front by, well, the stakes. Romans are moving up to seize this tower. The importance of the tower, obviously, is that we get a lot of free ammo, and there you go. You can see it already starting to ding away at these noble fighter units. So as long as we stay in Testudo, we can withstand the enemy fire, and the tower there was actually, it's going to be the one giving us a nice free stream of casualties directed at the opponents here. I would say the Testudos are probably getting a bit too close for my comfort, so they should probably hold firm. Although he may be trying to, oh no, it looks like these guys are going to be very aggressive, going to try and tango with the noble fighters. Probably not the best move, considering we had the advantage of holding the tower. So I would say this is probably not the best of engagements for us to take. He is going to be taking it nonetheless. So my ally, perhaps being a bit rash, the Praetorians down now, dropping. They're already down 20, 30 men. So this could be devastating. And look at now we're in range of the enemy towers. 2 enemy towers compared to just 1 tower. So we're going to be trading much less cost effectively there. Reinforcements going to be streaming around the side and through the front. We have our own Triarii actually trying to push around the flank and get the advantage there. I'm going to be sending some of my Oathsworn again to sweep around the side to get an advantage. But we're going to have some Praetorians are going to start biting it. This is not looking good. We desperately need some reinforcements. We can't have the elite Praetorians go down so quickly. Looks like they're actually tired and exhausted. The flaming shot going to be doing a lot of morale penalties. Thankfully, the Velites are here to reinforce. And we are trying to desperately move to occupy any open position, but the enemy is continuing to deny us that opportunity, continuing to seek shelter around the arrow towers. So this is not obviously looking good for us. Now here is exactly where we want to be. Again, like I said, don't ever place your guys in a position where they need, I could have attacked from the front. That would have done nothing. By attacking from the flank, you see I get that free initial volley, which does a tremendous amount of damage to the flank, and then now we get maximum area coverage. So I'm starting to turn the tide back in our favor here. The Thorax swordsmen are absolutely shattered. More reinforcements, however, streaming out from this position. They know things are not going well, so they're sending more guys. But at least it is in more of an open ground area. So that means we can kind of start sweeping around them. Speaking of not open ground areas, that is going to be this choke point where we're continuing to kind of hold off. Not going to send in any more fodder units. We have to be a bit more judicious with that. With those guys, we're just having enough units to kind of do a staring match with these forces and then kind of see how this flank develops. So we've sent almost everything into the meat grinder. Some of our javelins here are going to be getting some flaming shot into the mix, and this is just a bloody massacre. Praetorians still holding strong. Javelins here actually carving up a hole in the divide between the 2 Seleucid swordsman units. So pretty beneficial. However, if I were my ally, I would have sent them around the flank and really got some. I would have put them in this gap here, move them around, and this is exactly where you want them, shooting into the flank. From the front, it's not going to be going very well, although they have kind of opened up a bit of a flank here, so that's going to be good. Cavalry here going to be charging into the rear of the Seleucid sword unit that was tied up against our Triarii. So it looks like we've actually opened up a gap. More cavalry going to be swarming through. I would say they should go north. Yep, looks like they're going to be doing just that. The importance of going through here is there is a lot of skirmishing units. The Syrian archers, for instance. So this is going to be good. We're going to force the entirety of that blob back. But the enemy always having, seemingly always having a strategy to fall back on. So they had some sword units which are going to get a precursor volley against our guys. We're going to pull out of that engagement. No sense getting caught up in a fight where the enemy archers could then turn around and massacre us. So we're going to pull out of that fight. It was a worthy cause. However, look what's happened here. The enemy has broken through like a water in a dam, and they're going to be swarming past those Praetorians. Were the only thing holding up this, the bottleneck. I have a meager amount of skirmishers holding this back, so this is actually potentially dangerous as they threaten to sweep us back. Huge blob of Libyans. Our guys just absolutely disintegrated. I do still have some Oathsworn in this position, cavalry as well, but now they're getting targeted en masse by the archers. This is not looking good for us, my guys. Basically back to back with the Triarii, not looking good for us. Our own force here that was somehow, still holding strong is now going to get sandwiched further. So this is not looking good. The swarm pushing forward. We have nothing but Velites to hold them back. The general's bodyguard actually caught in the mix, so my ally here caught in quite the bind. I'm going to try and redeploy some Oathsworn to at least try and take something out. Some 2 Praetorian guards actually pushing forward. So we're going to try and hold the enemy at bay. And so this counter assault will hopefully be put to in the ground essentially. So we're going to counter assault here, get a nice last minute javelin. Yeah, we're going to try and put this to rest. Towers are still ours, thankfully, so they're going to be pushing this back to our advantage. This counter assault was pretty brutal. I believe our general unit is still, no, it looks like he got killed. I don't think he was able, no, actually he made it out of there, thankfully. So this is pretty brutal, a lot of infantry pouring forward. Over in this position, I launched a pretty savage assault with some of my noble horse. A couple of the stakes were still alive, but I wanted to do a combined assault on some of these living peltas, give my own fierce swords a bit more of an edge. I'm going to disengage from this fight. The reason I basically sent my horsemen in here is to clean up the fight. Like I said here, I want to keep my swords here chomping away, and also because I didn't really see too much use for my cavalry otherwise. This was the noble horse unit that was otherwise positioned on the high ground way back there, and so what I did is I pulled them through the gate, brought them through here, did a nice hammer and anvil strike through there, and now what I'm going to be doing is pulling them to reinforce this position to force the enemy back. Looks like we still are somehow holding strong with my Oathsworn here. 98 kills, the Triari with 24 was still alive, battering the enemy force down. However, they're now going to start to retake the tower from us, so I'm going to try and do something to combat that. So there goes my cavalry. Still have a pretty healthy number of infantry waiting in the back. Oathsworn general, fierce swords, 2 more Oathsworn, and some Velites and Syrian archers. So we still have a good number of troops, and it looks like his guys have either been turned off from fire at will, or as I'm maybe starting to think, just out of ammo. So this could be very good for us, which means the only thing left is the African pikeman unit. So perhaps the enemy counter assault on that side was detrimental in the sense that now we can perhaps start pushing through here. So we'll see how things kind of start panning out. On this front, we've pretty much rallied, and the enemy has a huge force here lining up. We do have some Praetorian cav behind enemy lines. It looks like the, oh, don't push through, don't push through. Looks like they've been baited into a the African pike wall, and this is going to spell the end for our cavalry. This is often why I try and ban or limit pikes from sieges, because with just a couple key points, they can really shred your units, and even if they're not in the choke points, they can do so much to control the pace of the game, and it gets very hard to do anything. So there goes the Roman Praetorian Cav, absolutely wrecked. That is money down the drain. They've reclaimed this position, so this entire area here has been taken out. Thankfully, we do have a tower here that's somehow within range, whereas the enemy is not within range of us. So slowly but surely, we're going to start taking that out. Feeding the next set of units of fierce swords. I have a lot of those guys into the mix. They're going to be positioned here. Keep a note on the African pikemen. We've dropped them down. Another volley brings them down by 5 or 6 or so men. A couple more volleys that I have left to get into these guys. So every unit that I send in is going to take out about 20 or so men. So, you know, wait for these guys. You can see I'm spreading out, getting ready for another javelin volley. I'm getting another unit ready, and also some Velites here. So combined, we should be able to shred through these African pikeman units. This face-off here is actually favoring our opponents. So in holding this force here, we're able to keep an overwhelming number of opponents distracted, which means it is now time to push forward in this position. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this engagement just because it's been going on for a while, and I don't want us to needlessly sit here while not much happens. You'll see the African pikemen here being targeted by our units. They're down now to 58 men, 55 men. My fierce swords here. Oh, gonna put this on plate. Basically, what I saw was a little gap that formed up on the side of these African pikemen. So I tried to do a pull-through maneuver to get into the Syrian archers and Carthaginian archers, mercenary Cretan archers, all that. I tried to pull through the pikemen and try and do some early damage here, and it looks like it's actually starting to work. So that is pretty good. Here come my heavy horse Oathsworn, and these guys have plenty of javelin volleys left. The archers committing into the engagement just like I wanted. So looks like my tactics early on paid off in the sense that they don't have any ammo left to kill my guys. Our javelins here are going to be doing some suppressing fire, so we're finally going to be able to break through. And I can't. It looks like the African pike wall is now only 1 man thick. Now the importance of this particular engagement is going to be, I can't overstate this enough, is we have to break through this. You notice how weak this is. It's essentially one little pike line which has 31 men left. We can definitely chow through that. The second we break through that, then we can try and push out, block the enemy force, and go for the ninja cap while a lot of them are uncommitted. So that is what we're trying to do. The longer we delay, the more units they are, thinking about pulling back. And it looks like Silver Shield Pikemen, African Pikemen, Pikemen units is the last thing we want thrown into the mix. So we're putting virtually everything into this fight, into the meat grinder, before enemy pikes can redeploy. The enemy is going to be throwing some of their own units into the mix as well to try and stop us. They know exactly what's going on here. But yeah, I'm starting to get a bit desperate. The enemy pikes are getting within range. This is not looking good. We've basically thrown away so many units trying to break through those pikes, and now only to see one more pike unit left. I want to dispel with the notion that the Carthaginian player does not know what he's doing. Does not know what he's doing. Carthaginian player knows exactly what he's doing. And fuck. Right back to where we started, ladies and gentlemen. The pike wall is back up. Shields up to 100%. And now they're going to be committing to this charge. So the meat grinder there, we weren't able to clear it out in time. Pikes are actually going to start pushing forward. So maybe the little advantage we have is they're not quite in the formation they need to be. And this is just going to become an all-around hot mess. At the same time, it is a fresh unit of pike, so I was severely pissed about that happening. The enemy force is now pulling forward with another Silver Shield Pikeman unit. Actually, 2 Silver Shield Pikemen, so at this point I start to say, oh god, this is not happening. And now they're going to be thinking about what they want to do, and they're going to go, I believe, with the safe bet of retreating their forces. So they've decided to pull back. Thankfully, it's a lot of their units there. They're going to leave just some of their African pikemen here with 119 units. I pulled all of my Oathsworn over to the side, and what I'm going to do is, again, the careful application of precursor javelins. Syrian archers kind of being thrown into the mix, trying to do something to these pikemen. You can see it's doing a little bit of damage, but mostly nothing. So we're going to be pulling our guys back, hoping to get some volleys against these African pikemen. Pulling in my Oathsworn here. They have 120 men, still a couple javelins. Pikemen are at 117. Did a feint, down to 111. Couple more volleys, and looks like the pikemen are just going to decide to get aggressive. They're down to 86 here. That's going to be a key number. Ooh. Meanwhile, on the right, let's put this on. Ooh, let's put this on play. Enemy is counter-assaulted. I did get a noble horse into the rear, so these archers still have ammo, so I'm going to be able to hit them in the back. The Praetorian Guard getting a nice defensive position here against the enemy, still having some pikes left, but my cavalry is going to try, the noble horse here, going to try and go for a noble charge into the back of this force. They're getting a bit stuck on the archers, but still going to charge through, and I was hoping this would start to crumble the morale, and this is a huge blob, so I was hoping to crumble the morale of a rather significant portion of troops. If we could do this, then we would actually reverse this position against our opponents. But the Silver Shield Pikemen here, just excellent, and the Romans the first cohort being fed into this meat grinder. This is what you'd expect for barbarians facing pikes, but Romans are just flailing and being turned into ground beef against these elite pikes. So that is not going well for us. Over here, they're pretty far in depth as well. So from the front, the Praetorians having a hard time. My cavalry has been basically diminished down to 4 units. 74 kills to their name, but still, they've been outdone, not able to kill this blob, so that is not looking good. In this position, the African pikemen still hold strong, so I'm going to pull in the last of my units, the Gallic hunters, trying to get finally point blank. As you can see, nothing is left for us, so we're going to have to throw everything into this fight. Let's go back to fast forward as the remainder of the units start to chase after us. Again, the only hope is to break through this position. Gallic hunters are going to start to get some shots off against the pike, but now their numbers are dropping tremendously. And there you go, they've broken. So we're in an interesting scenario where the enemy is actually on the outside of their defenses, whereas we are on the inside. So now we're getting this really weird reversal where all of a sudden I'm telling my ally, just charge through, get to the capital. If we can get to the top, we can ninja cap this. The entire enemy force is behind us, so I'm desperately giving movement orders. The enemy realizes what it's going on. They're going to throw some of their thorax swordsmen there on the wrong side of this engagement. Oathsworn going to be going over to that side as the enemy realizes, holy shit, let's get everything back. They're going to try and redeploy there. That's why I'm pulling some Oathsworn over here. Enemy is in hot pursuit, so I'm going to be dispatching some guys to slow down the enemy units. The general's bodyguard here going to be charging forward. Unfortunately, we do find ourselves face to face with pikes. I hope he doesn't give a movement order, and he gave a movement order. Oh well, looks like it's going to clear the path for us. He still gets through, so maybe that was a sacrificial move done to get to the capture point. And now is going to be why I brought in these Gallic hunters. They're going to be here to help secure this top position. So here we're going to start to get the first of the units to the top. Gallic hunters being sent in to seize the top victory point. There we go, the countdown has started. More of our guys going to be committed to this fight. I realize that I need to hold back the enemy force. The brave Praetorian Guard holding back the entire enemy army here. Yes, they're going to be broken, but look at this. We have now taken the top. The top is going down. It is almost ours. All that's left here is a bunch of Syrian heavy archers. This could be devastating, so I'm going to try and run at all speed to try and catch up with these guys. This could be bad if they get up here. Then they're going to be able to just destroy the general's bodyguard. Keep in mind, I do still have Gallic hunters who can do some damage. He's going to sacrifice one Syrian archer unit. I'm going to get most of my guys around the edge of that, swarm around them. But there you go. They've gotten up to the top. I'm not quite sure actually how much ammo is left on these guys. This could be devastating. They are doing everything they can to push forward with all haste. Now they're going to take aim at the general. Look at those archer shots coming from the top. That's going to be from my Gallic hunters. They're trying to suppress us. The unfortunate thing that happened, though, is that they did start to reclaim this counter. That is, we're dealing with seconds here. This is not good for us. My own Gallic hunters are going to try and seize that tower. I know if we're going to take control of this, we need the tower, so I'm claiming that. My Oathsworn are closing in on the rear of this position. The enemy force coming back with 2 silver shield swordsmen. This is not looking good. The entire front, I've been forced to run away from that. So, like I said, it's a matter of seconds at this point, and the enemy is lined up by these... I'm so scared. They're lined up right by these flaming fireballs, so they could potentially destroy my entire force. So they are... playing in a very interesting position here. If they do get to the fireballs before I do, then that could be devastating. However, it looks like I've claimed the fireballs, which is going to be key. I did pull some Oathsworn to the left to try and delay that force, and now the fireballs are going to be mine. I'm going to be able to use these to potentially wreck the pursuing guys. You can see there, I tell my units to unleash the fireballs. Yes, it's going to kill some of my guys, but it is going to destroy the pursuing units, so I am going to be using Scorched Earth policies, whatever I need to claim this final position, so that just routes that unit. I should have probably waited a little bit more to kill that whole army, but I don't care. It's down to the last couple units. One Oathsworn unit is free in the back to kill these archers, so we should be able to kill those guys quite handily. Gallic Hunter is going to be able to clean those guys up. General going for the cap, so now you can see it rising back up in our favor. All we have to do is hold the front here. All we have to do is rely on the Oathsworn to cap out this last settlement and hold the front. Looks like this is potentially doable. We'll see how the enemy fares. There is, however, a rather large gap. I have popped Headhunt. My guys are tired. Almost 200 kills to their name. Down to 16 men in that unit, so they're going to crack. It does mean we have one more unit here with 101 men, 274 kills, so they're going to have to be the ones who hold this position. The capture point is going back up in our favor. The flag is being raised, and at this point we've crushed everything in the rear. Enemy getting sticky on our forces, not able to push through, so looks like we've got this almost in the bag on that front. The Silver Shield Pikemen here trying to keep the remainder of the Romans at bay. But man, this is going to be freaking close. My archers here unleashing on the rear of this position, trying to do as much damage against the Libyan infantry, who are now starting to be killed pretty handedly, actually. You can see my volleys here chipping away at the enemy force. My Oathsworn in the back actually now breaking 200 kills against Libyan infantry who are exhausted. I will actually probably win that engagement. So this is looking kind of somewhat in my favor. We've reclaimed, now fully claimed the top. It is ours. Oathsworn unit here with 130 kills coming to reinforce this position. Going to try and stop them. The enemy is now pushing into the capture point. They realize what's going on. They're going to charge into my guys, so the flag is now going to go back down. I have to prevent that, so the Libyans here are going to have to die. In the rear, however, we do have some enemy pikes being pulled back. This is why I claimed that tower, because I knew something would happen. My Gallic Hunters are going to try and stop this from, this force from pushing forward. And so they're going to pull back and try and get some more volleys. But there you go, my Oathsworn general actually breaking this Libyan force. So they're down to 14 men. And now we're going to just have to tank it out. My unit in the back, 28 against 56. We may win that. However, the enemy general's bodyguard being the last little guy left, able to tip the balance in their favor. Look at this. We're actually breaking through the Silver Shield Swordsman. This battle is almost ours here. However, the general here being the last guy left is going to be absolutely devastating for us. He's going to be the one who's neutralizing this capture. My Gallic Hunters are going to be activated to try and take these forces out. All of my archer units are deciding to, pick apart this general. I'm hoping a lucky kill here will trigger the retreat of these Libyan infantries. If I can break that with these Oathsworn, then all I have to do is take out these Silver Shield Swordsmen, and the battle is mine. The Romans being kept at bay. These guys really need to make it up here. This is a nail biter. This is crazy. Oh my god, how many kills? 103. Oh my god, 343 kills on these Oathsworn, tanking it out like beasts. Popping my final ability here. Unbreakable fighting spirit. That's going to keep my guys in the fight going. These guys with almost 200 kills. The Silver Shield Swordsmen are going to be going down. My archers there continuing to try and target the general's bodyguard. However, he has some high HP. Oh my god, this is such a close battle. That charge not super great. How much are we at? 354 on an Oathsworn. Mother of God. This is freaking devastating. Oh, there it goes. Libyan infantry starting to crack. They might actually break before my unbreakable wears off. Yes, looks like 2 of them went down. Now I have the favor against these Libyan infantry. These Oathsworn up to 206 kills, raking it in the back, in the shade of these towers. My guys have been taking additional damage, so it looks like the battle is going to go in Libyan infantry's favor. And finally, actually, the pikes, who have been a thorn in my side this entire battle, are going to be making a return. God fucking damn it. Just as I thought I could pull off this final victory, the pikes are going to wade into the thick of it, drop their lofty 18-inch fucking metal dicks into this fight and just screw everything up. So they are going to be the final blow against my Oathsworn. So at the end of the day, it was teetering on a knife's edge, but they're going to reclaim it. The banner is now going to be rehoisted in the Seleucids' favor, and there you go, a costly enemy victory. Hope you guys enjoyed. I really did enjoy this one. This was tons of fun. Nail biter to the end. Kind of bullshit that you have so many pikes holding firm on these positions, but man, oh man, was this a nail biter. Look at the bloodshed here. This is crazy. Let's go ahead and end the replay and look at some of the final stats. I by far the MVP here, 2,000 kills. My ally with 911, I think I owe it to the Oathsworn here, just tanking it out like beasts. Conquistador here, not doing super well. His Praetorian Guard's doing alright. The archers here not doing too well. And the cavalry in particular were pretty much waste. Seleucid's not doing too much. It's only going to be the Silver Shield Pikemen who are really holding it strong, and some of his swordsmen. Yeah, Silver Shield Pike, 102, 193. And here, noble fighters who did pretty well, and again the pikemen doing well. Archers as well, mostly against my freemen though. Anyways, that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Peace out.